Let me know when you can see my screen.
We can see your screen.
All right. So first, since this is the third session, I'm pretty sure everybody already have Studio X installed. And we have two exercises today, one for Word and one for Excel automation. So Christina and Nicholas are going to drop this link in the chat if you haven't already downloaded this file from the event website. Now let's dive into the first section. What's the word automation? So if you are a business user, or even if you are a student still in school, pretty sure you have very likely have been working with a different type of word template before. And let's see how Studio X can help you automate the task using the word activities in Studio X. So what can you automate with word automation in Studio X? So we have different word template like a resume or even a cover letter or a brochure where you have a standard template and you just want to update it with a custom value. And if you have to do that for a high number of Word document, the task can become very repetitive and time consuming. So Studio X can help you with that. The second use case is a little bit more complicated, but you can also use Word activities in Studio X to extract data from a Word document. There's no straightforward way to do that in Studio X, but you can save the Word document as a PDF first, and then use the UI automation activity to extract the value from the Word document, or at this moment is a PDF document. So those are the most popular use case for Word automation. So how do you use these Word activities in Studio X? I'm going to open Studio X now and walk you through some popular activity in Word application. So when you open Studio X and navigate to Word application on the left menu, you will see the list of resources and action available. And depend on the version of Studio X that you install, you may see some activities missing. For example, if you are using Studio X from 2010, you may not see the save document as PDF activities. Okay, so the main resource for the Word application is Word file. So using this activity, it is going to open a Word document if you already have that Word document, or it's going to create a new Word document after you finish all the activities inside that scope. For example, if in this Word document, you're going to create or append some text in the Word document, at the end, it will create a Word file. But if you already have the template, for example, if you already have a template, it's going to update that file. So these are the action in the Word application. It is ordered in alphabet order. So the very popular one is the replace text in document. So let me open a template as an example. Here we have a resume template where you usually have components like the name, phone number, email, and then you list the experience and education of the candidate. So usually before you have to come in and just replace each value manually using these activity in Studio. Now you can use activity like replace text and update this template. Other popular activities are read text. So if you have a Word document and you want to read off the value from that document, you can use these activities. And at the end, after you're making all the changes in this Word document, you can save the document as PDF, or in other case, you want it just to save it as other file format, you can use the action save document as. So now let's go to the first demo. So for example, in this case, I have the resume template and I want to dynamically update the content of the template by using data from an Excel file. So in this case, the Excel file only have one record and the candidate name is Flying Robot. But the automation can pick up the value in this Excel file and update the value in the template according to the tag and the location of the value that you want to replace with. So for example, if I close the file now and just run the automation, close the templates as well. So what you're seeing right now is the robot replacing the logo on the right, the name. Let me bring Word forefront so you can see it. The phone number, the email, the experience. And we are going to learn how to do this later on, okay? So once it's finished, it's going to save the document as a PDF. And for this example, I designed the automation to save the file as output resume PDF. And this is what the result look like. So imagine if you have like 100 candidate in that resume, in that Excel file, the automation can do this like, so far we say I think it takes 15 seconds to finish this template for first record. So if we have 100 record, it would take it just a matter of minutes to finish everything instead of if a human doing it, it would take hours at least. Let's go back to the presentation. Okay, so based on our very brief introduction about Word automation, let me give you a quick quiz. And this one is not the one that you're going to win the prize on. We have a Menti quiz after this one, but this is just to quickly check your knowledge on what you hear so far about Word automation. So for example, in this Word document, I have the sentence, before you criticize someone, you should walk a mile in their shoes. It's a very meaningful quote. And if I want to change this text into the text on the right, before you criticize someone, you should walk a mile in their shoes. That way, when you criticize them, you are a mile away from them and you have their shoes. So which activity in the Word automation we should use in order to modify the text from the left to the right. So here are some options. First one is read text. Second one is add text. Third one is append text. And the last one is change text. So make sure to drop your selection in the chat. See if you can answer this correctly. So in this case, read text is the activity that helps you read all the text from a Word document. It's not going to change the content of the Word document. So that is the incorrect answer. Second one is add text. In Studio X, as you can see before, if I open it now, you do not see an activity called add text. We have an activity called add picture, but no add text. And the last one, change text, the same thing. We don't have an activity called change text in Studio X. So the correct answer is append text. Now, I guess you are familiar with the activities in Word document a little bit. We can start with the first Menti quiz.
Okay, wait. So we're starting the quiz, guys. Pay attention. Han, please wait while everyone joins. I'm going to share the code here also for you to paste it.
So remember at the end, the one with the highest score, we receive some gift from your iPad, okay?
Okay, so we have 58 in the quiz now. We'll wait for some more of you guys to join because we are 115 in the call now in this live session. Okay, so I see Nicholas is correcting me. Yes, I was misled by an exercise on Academy where it has Excel as the source file. Nicholas is right, so you should listen to Nicholas. I will obtain from further comment if I am not paying attention.
No, feel free.
But you
So
can also
it's better to have two options.
you can also fill that template with Excel as a source file.
Yeah, for sure.
So guys, you have the code, you have the link. We have 75 so far. Let's see how many of you want to be in the quiz. So we're going to have one winner today. Penguins, hats, fishes. Oh, we have a dragon. I think that's Game of Thrones there in a green version, not spitting fire.
Hey,
But
Han, Christina, one question that came up is if we want to upload the code base, I suppose for the demo that Hannah just showed.
we can upload it for the demo, but they will have to watch the demo. They will have the recording too.
Yeah.
So,
and later on, we are going to do the practice exercise, which is the same automation that you just saw. So I'm going to walk through step by step on how to do everything that I just presented.
Kamal is saying that he cannot hear anything. The rest of us can hear. So Kamal, I think check your settings for Zoom. Does anyone else have this problem? Because we surely can hear. And okay. Okay, so Samantha says she can hear us. She doesn't have the problem. Everyone else can hear us, yes? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay, so we have 80 people right now in the Menti quiz. We will start it. Let's start the quiz now. Guys, pay attention.
Okay.
So this is the first question. Yeah.
Yeah, so what Studio X activity do you use to insert the picture below into a Word document? So the options are append text, add picture, hocus pocus, and replace picture.
Guys, answer fast because you need to be right and fast. What action do you use to insert pictures in a Word document?
Wow, a lot of people answer correctly.
And none used hocus pocus, or one, I think. But hocus pocus would be a great activity to have in Studio X.
Okay, let's see who the winner on that first round.
Okay, let's see who is leading the leaderboard now and whether he will keep position until the end. Okay,
Wow.
so we have Leon with a very small difference from Nemo. So let's see if you guys keep your pole positions till the end and which of you will be the winner of our Menti quiz. Congrats so far, Leon. You obviously paid attention and were very fast on typing and clicking. Yeah, Leon is very keep the faith, man. Keep the faith. Yeah. Great. Okay, later on the second question, just to keep paying attention because the second question will be a bit more difficult. So now I will let Han continue and probably with the exercise.
Okay, so make sure everybody have the resource file for the first exercise, word automation. So when you download that folder, you should see two files. Oh, actually three files. One is the resume template. The other one is the Excel file that store the candidate information and the flying robot logo. So if you don't see all of the file, let Christina and Nicholas know in the chat.
I'm going to replace the link for download, so just wait 1 minute, please, Han. Okay. So make sure everyone has downloaded the exercise pack for Word. Guys, this is the link for the exercise pack download. Oh, now I see Nicholas was talking with another Christine in chat. I thought he kept thinking of what I said. I was thinking like, what does he want? Okay, so guys, you have the link for download. Download and open the exercise pack, and then you will see like the open folder that Han has now on screen. Have you guys managed to download and open? Okay, so I think everyone is ready. So you should see the same folder that Han has now, the same folder composition.
I'm going to start a new project in Studio X. Okay, we're going to start a blank task. Can everybody hear me clearly? Okay. We're going to call it update resume template. And you can save it anywhere you like. And usually we will put a description for the automation. So here we want to automate the action to update resume template using an data from an Excel file. Okay. So before we start, even though you can have the resource file stored anywhere, it would be more convenient to have this file stored in the same project as your StudioX project. So I'm going to copy this file and go to my project. And I'm just going to paste the file. All right. Let's start. You navigate to the Word application menu. And the first activity you need to use is the use Word file resource. So in order to perform any action below, you have to use it within a use Word file scope. Now we point the action to the Word template that we want to update. It will point to the resume template file inside the project. If you have it saved elsewhere, you can point the file to the correct location. So save change option, what it does is if you select yes, every time the automation finish one action, it will automatically save the file. And if you don't check it, when the automation finishes all of the action inside this scope, it will save the file at last. So let's open the template that we want to update. So here we have all of the information that we need to replace information from the Excel file on the left. And we have the profile picture on the right. Let's replace the profile picture first. So as the Menti quiz that we just had before, if you want to insert a image into the, in this case, we want to replace an image in the Word document, we're going to use the activity replace picture. And the first property we need to enter is the alt text of the picture. And in order to do that, we go to the template, click on the logo and right click it. You should see an option called edit all text. Click on that and you should see the all text in this box right here. We're going to copy that and place it in our project. So when you click on this view, you will see an option called text. We're going to paste a value that we just copied from the Word document there. Now we want to replace it with the picture of the flying robot. So in the resource file that you download, there should be an image file called flying robot. Select that one. If I run it now, it should replace this image here. Okay, so that works. Now, the next thing we want to update is a name. And before we're doing that, let's open the Excel file called resume data.
Hey, Hannah, they're asking if you can repeat the selection of the picture.
Okay. So in the picture, let me go back to Studio. So you would use the replace picture action in order to replace a picture in a template. If you want to add a picture, you would use add picture activities, but in this case, we want to replace it. And the automation found the picture by using alt text. And to get the alt text of the picture, you just right click on the logo and select edit alt text. You should see the alt text value in the box right here. And what I did is just copy this value and put it here using text option. Okay. So moving on, going to the Excel file, we will see that every value in the Excel file correlate with the value that we need to update in the Word template. So the first view is the name of the candidate. So in order to replace a text in the Word document, we're going to use replace text activity right here. But right now, if you click on the option to select the text to replace, we would not see the Excel file value. And in order to see the value from the Excel file, we need to use the use Excel file resource. So navigate to Excel application and drag this resource over to the project. Okay. Now we're going to tell it where is the Excel file that we want to use. And select the resume data Excel file. You can change the reference name to anything. See, I'm going to call it resource. And now if we drop the replace text in document action into this scope, I will be able to see the resource Excel from here. And we can indicate the value in the Excel file that we want to pick up. But first, let's identify the value that we want to replace. And this function works similarly to the function replace text that you have in Word. Like if I hit Control F now, it will ask me for the text that I want to look for. and then you can replace the text, right? So very similar in Studio. You're going to enter the text that you want the automation to replace. So here, I want to replace name. And by the way, the text is not case sensitive. So it doesn't matter if it's uppercase, lowercase, or mixed case. And I want to replace name in the template with the name from the Excel file. So in order to do that, I'm going to choose the Excel file first and choose indicate in Excel. Okay, and I'm going to select on the value that I wanted to replace, which is the second cell on a column. Going to confirm that the value I wanted. Okay. So you should see the replace with value is now updated to resort Excel file, sheet 1, and cell A2. So the next one is phone number. So we're going to use the replace text activity for the rest of them just to find the value and update it to the value from the Excel file. Go back to Word and use another replace text in document. Now we want to replace this phone number with the phone number from the Excel file. So we will copy the phone number here and not the text for itself, but the actual phone number. And same thing, we're going to indicate the value we want to replace with from the Excel file. Okay, they are very similar, so I'm going to go fast here. And when we go into something different, I'm going to slow down and expand it. So next one is email. Same thing, we want to replace the email value. Now the next one is experience 1. If you notice in the template, we have experience 1 and experience 1 details. So if we're going to replace the text experience 1 first, it's going to get the value from experience 1 and put it in both experience 1 and experience 1 and experience 1 details. So in order to avoid that, we want to look for the word experience 1 detail first. Same thing. We're going to pick the experience 1 detail column. And after experience 1 detail, now we can update experience 1. So same thing with experience 2. Remember to replace experience to detailed text first, and then we can do experience to.
Hey, Han, they're asking if we can repeat later, just do a recap,
Sure.
just for the ones who missed some part.
Yeah,
Okay.
some of them got in the beginning, but let's clarify some of the questions first. So there are many people asking about what if the pieces of text we replace have the more than one occurrence in the document. And I said earlier, in this exercise and this document, all of the pieces of text we replace are with one-time occurrence. This meaning that they have a unique text, each of them. So it reads them as a tag and replaces them, and it isolates them because they are unique. If in a document you have more than one occurrence of the same text, which is identical and it occurs more than one time in a document, Nicolas gave you a solution in chat earlier. So there is an option for that. But for this exercise alone and for templates and in order to streamline automation, usually you make this like all pieces that are replaced are unique pieces of text.
Yeah, and remember that Han presented, this is not the only way of adding text to a Word document. You also have other activities like set bookmark content that it's more, I'll say more specific than just replacing a text. You will use bookmarks in your Excel template, and then you would put text in that bookmark. So for the ones who are asking for how to do more complex things that just replacing the fixed value, you have other options. Just for the sake of the demo on simplicity, we're using the replace text in document.
Yes, we will share at the end options if you want to, like, if you want to keep further automating Word and explore it, we will share at the end options for you to continue the path in Academy.
So I'm going, because of the activity we're going to use is replace text. So I'm going to go fast in the remaining part so we can finish this first demo.
Okay, so Han is going faster now because all of them are identical. Like for all of them, you replace text and select the source, indicate the source in Excel. Amit is asking, what if we have more rows in the Excel? How will the robot create the second part? So the idea is that you have a unique template and it feeds off the Excel. And if you have more rows in the Excel, you have the ability in Studio to select and indicate those rows like a range. And the robot will simply go and feed on the range and produce multiple templates with different text.
Yeah, and you would do it in the other order. Instead of opening the Word document and opening the Excel after that and filling the data, you will use first the Excel file, and you will go for every row, and for every row of that Excel file, you will do all the changes to the Word document. But we'll go into further detail of Excel later.
Yeah.
So maybe Hannah will already answer these questions that may have about how looping rows and that.
Yeah,
Right.
you will see those actions in the Excel automation later. Now we did this exercise first because it combines a bit of Word and Excel. So if we don't manage to do the Excel exercise, you will have a view of Excel too. But that specific action for each row, you will see it later.
Yeah, in the Excel automation part, we're going to learn how we perform the same task for every row in the Excel file, as well as the same task for every sheet in a workbook in the second part of the presentation.
Yeah. When you end, Hannah, just go a bit back to the beginning. Like at the first replace text
Okay.
activity, so they just see exactly the activity once more. The rest of the activities were identical. They just we just changed the text to replace and the source, but the activity in Studio X is identical. So we are going to redo the first for you to get the exact pattern of the activity and to get it right. And afterwards, you just repeat it and change the text and then change the source.
And just going to repeat something earlier that I said that, for example, in this template, we have education 2 appear at 2 place. And we don't want to update something in education 2. For example, education 2, you are past certified advanced RPA developer. We want to update it here, but not in the detail section. So what we do is we're going to replace the text for education 2 detail first, and then we're going to do education 2 after that. This way, after we update the education 2 detail, there's no more education 2 text in the template. So it's going to replace the value correctly. All right. So just to recap, I first use the use Word file resource. Identify which Word document that I want to update. And I did that by selecting the folder icon here and select the file. And then in this template, we have a picture here, and I want to replace it with the picture that we have. So I use the replace picture activities, and that activity requires the alt text for the picture. And that's how the automation find the location and value of the picture that it needs to replace. After that, I want to update the information on the resume with the detail from the Excel file. And in order to do that, I need to first use the use Excel file resource. And you can find it under Excel application, and it's right there. The same thing, you can point the automation to the Excel file that you want to use and put a reference name for the file. And after that, we use the replace text in document activity to look for the value that we want to replace in the document and replace it with the value from the Excel file. And you do that by selecting the option from this menu, so you don't have to manually typing this value right here. So I do that for all of the cell in the Excel file that match the requirement in the template. And at the end, after the Word document is updated, I want to save the resume as a PDF file. So I'm going to use the save document as PDF. And I'm going to put a name for the PDF file. So here I want to save the PDF file in the same project folder. For the name, it would be better if we put the name of the candidates at the file name. So in this case, it is Flying Robot. So if you check the option replace existing, if the PDF already exists in the folder that you just selected, it will replace the file with the new one. Now, we have everything ready. I'm going to close this file. Don't save it.
Okay,
Close Excel file now.
let's take 1 minute now to see if anyone has managed to get this far. I think they're having trouble locating the source file.
So for everyone that's having problems, make sure that the use Excel file activity is inside the use Word file activity, and then that all the Word activities for replace text are inside the use Excel file, right? As Hannah is showing. So when you click the plus button, you should see an Excel. It may not be called resource. Probably it's called Excel because that's the default name. Hannah has updated for better understanding. But make sure that all the activities are inside the Excel file. Otherwise, you will not be able to use the Excel data.
So the default name here is Excel, and I change it to resource. The reason is in case you have many Excel files in your automation, you want to put a unique name there so you don't confuse yourself which Excel file you're using. Okay. Any other questions?
They were saying, like, in the meanwhile, can you also quickly show how we can add the new text in front of phone or email ID? So those actions are after the first replace, which is the name replace. The rest of the actions are identical. You just choose from the template the text you want to replace. So in case of the phone number, it will be the numbers after the phone number tag. So you exclude the phone number tag, you don't touch that one, you choose the numbers. You place the numbers there as text to replace, and then you choose from the Excel source the phone number you want to put in the document. Someone wants to work with your path already. You can work as a developer. Yeah, so all the actions are identical. Just all the others are variables under tags. So your tags would be here: name, phone, email. Those are the tags. You don't choose the tags, so you don't replace the tags. You replace what is under the tags, like the text following or after the text. What is in the right or below the text? That is the text you want to replace. And for that specific text to be replaced, you find the column in the Excel resource with the exact same tag, and you place the text under that column. You choose it as a source, and then it replaces it in the template.
So another thing I would like to mention is right now, if you can see on my screen that the original template that we have was modified after I run the automation earlier to show you that it can add a new logo into the resume. I'm going to, after I run the automation, I'm going to show you how you can keep the original template and just modify another version of it. So this way you don't modify the template. So let's run the automation now. Let me bring the Word document to forward so you can see it replacing the value on the left.
Okay, so you can see now the bot replacing all the text within the template. So Han is not doing anything now, the robot is running.
Okay. So once it's finished, we have an output file called flying robot right here. And this is what the automation produced. If we look at the template file right now, we can see that the template will also modify. And this happened because by default, the use Word file will save all the change to the Word document that you identify here. So in case you don't want to modify the original template, we can modify this, add on some activity here. But first, let me retrieve the original template. Okay. So I still have the original file here. Going to copy that into the project and replace the file that we currently have. I'm going to close this first. Just making sure that this is the original file. Yes, it is. Okay. So you're going to look for an activity called copy file. And if you cannot find it, you can also go to file right here and select that activity. Okay. So I want to copy the template to another location. We can put it in the same project folder. And because it's going to use the same name, so I'm going to create a new folder. Let's create right here. So I'm going to call this a temp folder. Okay. And select option override. And I will explain why we choose that later on. So now instead of the automation working on the template, I tell it to modify the file under the temp folder instead. And to do that, you click on this icon and select text and put in the file path. So that file is under the temp folder. Okay. Let me close everything. And if I run it now, it also do the same thing that we just saw earlier, but this time it will not change anything in our original template. Okay, it finished. Now let's open the template and see what do we have. So the template is still the same. And this is what we want. The Excel file that it modified is under the temp folder. And this one had the latest change. And that's how you want. And the reason I click overwrite before, the reason I select this option is whenever we modify this file, it's just going to overwrite the original version in the temp folder. So we don't have to worry about creating a new file every time it runs. So that's all for the first exercise. And in case if you don't want to replace a value from an Excel file, you can always choose option text and remove the value from Excel and put whatever value you want to replace here instead of the value in the Excel file. So another important property in the replace text in document action is replace all. If you have this on, it will replace everything with the same value in the document. But if it's unchecked, then it will only replace the first occurrence of this value. Are we good to move on to the next part of the presentation? Christina and Nicholas. I cannot see the chat while I was presenting. So.
Okay, yeah, so no problem, man. It's okay.
Yeah, no. So sorry, I got distracted answering.
Yeah,
some
I
things.
just wanted to say for the guys who were asking about the community license and safety of data and the open source system such as that, whoever is really interested in using it with sensitive data, please drop us an email at community. And I will expand on the answer and tell you all the data about how secure it is and whether you can use with sensitive data. It should be okay, but if you want the official answer, please write to us, and so I can extract that data for you, and you know exactly whether it's safe to use with sensitive client data. But Nicholas was right, of course, for enterprise use and big volume use, you would need a paid license. The community license will, I think, would suit you just fine for small endeavors, or if you want to use it as an individual practitioner. But for enterprise level, you would need an enterprise license.
Yeah, for the question about data being stored or something, no, data is not being stored by default, but if you use the community cloud and you upload data, but that's not part of these sessions, we're talking about orchestrator and other things, you might get data into UiPath Cloud that's not prepared for business companies, so it doesn't have the same security because it's meant more as of testing an environment for users. But that has nothing to do with Studio or Studio X. So if you use Studio X, the information that your robot processes is going to say in your robot, as long as you don't tell your robot to send it to somewhere else.
All over the internet, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can continue now with the Excel automation. I hope everyone got a bit, at least a bit of this work exercise. And like if you didn't manage to run it finally, was there anyone who managed to run the robot from the word automation? Can you guys tell us in chat if anyone managed to run? Okay. Yes, great.
Yeah.
Okay, you will have the recording and the exercise pack to be able to run it afterwards. And then also I will share at the end, and I already shared the link for the academy course, which will take you slower through this. So you'll have every chance to run the Word robot and even expand more on how to build a robot with Word, don't worry. Let's move on to Excel now to at least see a small demo because we're already far on the time. So we won't be able to dive deeper into the Excel exercise, but at least to see the demo.
Okay. Okay. So Excel automation in Studio X. I assume here everybody is a business user and you use whichever function in the business that you're working in. Excel is like a big part of your day-to-day work. So let's see how Studio X can help you automate some of your tasks. So what can you automate with Studio X? You can create report by read and write data in an Excel template. You can sort data for each column. You can also validate if duplicated data is in the Excel file. And usually you can use Excel automation to compare data onto different Excel files as well. And if your Excel file have macro, you can also use Studio X to run that macro. And how do you do this in Studio X? So in Studio X, if you go to the Excel application, the action available are listed here. And similar to word exercise, you need to use your Excel file action first in order to use any action listed in the menu below. And use Excel file will either open a new Excel file, or if the action that you perform in inside are related to like create a new row or create a new column, or it will open an Excel file template that you already have. Other popular activity are for each row and for each Excel sheet. So for example, someone asked earlier, how do we create a template for multiple candidates in that Excel file? So in that case, we would use the for each Excel row, and we put the use Word file that we used earlier inside this activity. And you can delete column or insert column. There should be an activity to check for duplicate data. So you can remove a duplicate, you can create a duplicate sheet in the workbook in order to, for example, in some case you want to keep the original data for comparison, and then you duplicate the sheet and modify that sheet on the side. You can also create pivot table with Studio X. And along with the description on the activity, you can explore how to use each activity by navigate to UiPath documentation online. So I'm going to go through the next one real quick. Demo. All right. Okay, so this is also the exercise that you have for later on, but maybe we only have enough time to demo this. But for example, every day you download some type of report from a website and do some modification on that Excel file. And for example, in this file, we have different sheet for some type of bracket of, I think this is the SMS purchase for each account. You can see that even though these tabs are different, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to Friday, but the template are the same. So you have report, the first section, the header of the Excel sheet are the same on every tab. And you have the main content start from cell B10. Same here. And the column are also the same. So on this file, the user want to convert the value of the total price from the client currency to US dollars. And we also have another spreadsheet here for the conversion rate. So it just put the conversion rate for one foreign currency in terms of USD. So the automation can convert these value into the value in US dollar. And at the end, going to calculate the total value for that column. So for each row, it will convert the value and put the converted value in the total price column. And after converting every row, it will calculate the total at the end. Now notice that every tab can have different number of rows. So this one only have like 10 rows. This one maybe have like 15. So how does the automation know which one is the first row to convert the value, and which one is the last row to calculate the total values? Now I'm going to run the automation first and then show you how to do that in Studio later. Let's close the file and run the automation. You can see on screen. Is it converting the value from the client currency into US dollar? So it's working on the third tab now. After converting, it also calculates the total. Okay. Now, let's see how we do that in Excel. I think we can go to the quiz first and then go to the how to later. Oops. Okay. So we see some Excel activity earlier. Now let's try to see if you remember some of the activity that I explained earlier. If I have the spreadsheet on the left, and I want to update the grade for a student, in this case, it's Nicholas. I want to change his grade from B- to F because he hasn't performed very well during the semester. So which activity in Excel automation I would use to achieve this? First one is replace text. Second is change cell. Third is write cell. And the last one is write range. You can drop your answer in the chat. I'm sure some of you have Studio X open now, so it must be easier to check which one is correct.
Do you want to know the answers that they were giving right now?
Yeah.
For now, I think like 2 persons respond with option 2, and well, 3 now, and most of them selected replace text first option.
Okay.
That's what we have right now.
All right. So remember, this is Excel, okay? So replace text is the action that we saw in Word application. And in Excel, we don't have an action called replace text. Okay. The next option is change cell. The same thing. We don't have an activity called change cell. So the third and the last one, write cell and write range. These are the two activities available in Excel application. The difference is if you want to update the value, in this case, I just want to change the grade, then I have to use write cell. But if I want to change the whole row, like for example, I want to change the student name and the grade, then I would need to use write range. So the correct answer in this example is right cell. Think we're ready for the Menti quiz question 2. Need to find the winner for today.
Okay, guys, go to menti.com. And you can share the Menti on the screen, Han. Yeah.
Okay.
We have Harsh asking, what is the use of find replace value?
Find and replace value. Is that an Excel activity or?
It is an Excel activity. I
Yeah.
don't know whether we also have it in Studio X.
Yeah, we have it in Studio X.
Okay.
It's more or less the same as what you do when you press Ctrl F, find and replace. It's actually the same feature, but for this.
Yeah, guys, so if you go in Studio X and if you go on the left bar and just choose Excel, and then it will show you the drop down with all the activities you can do in Excel. And you can just scroll up and down and you hover over the activities. If you leave the mouse on activity, it will just describe the activity and the definition for you, and you will be able to see the description of the activity there. So for example, for find replace value, you have searches in a specified range for a certain value. Depending on the operation chosen, it either returns the location of the cell or it replaces the value. So of course, that's like a very book type of definition, but it is enough like for you to be able to select the kind of activity you want from that tab there.
Interesting. I'm not seeing that activity under Excel application.
It is,
Maybe it's because the package version.
Oh, I must be using the latest one.
Yeah.
Update that. Yeah, so depend on the version that you're using, you will see more or less activities available on the menu.
Yeah, so right now everyone who is using the community edition and the Studio X, which you guys downloaded, is using the last version. I think I have it too because I downloaded it like fresh a few months ago. And probably Han, you were using, you just chose from Studio, no, the Studio X profile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you should be able to find it.
The only thing with the latest version, it makes a little bit difficult to find the activity because all activities have the same icon now.
Yeah.
But it's just to identify them better when you go into show all activities, which ones apply to Excel, which ones applies to Word, and so on.
Okay, let's go to Menti and then we can address the questions in Q&A. So guys, please let's keep a bit the agenda. So we'll do the quiz. Go to menti.com. Those of you who are, look, you are there. Okay, so we can start the question now.
Okay. What action do we use to repeat one or more activity for each individual row in an Excel sheet? So the first option is repeat action. Then for each row, third is for each sheet. And the last option is copy range.
Okay, guys, answer fast. Let's see if Leon manages to keep the pole position.
Wow. Okay. So for each sheet is when you want to repeat the same action on each sheet of the workbook. And for each row is when you want to do the same action for each row in the Excel file, in the Excel sheet. And we don't have an activity called repeat action. And copy range is when you want to copy a value from a range to another. Let's see who the winner. Look like Leon is the winner of the day.
I can't believe it. This is the first time someone manages to keep the position in a quiz. So Leon, you're really a premier. Yeah, it's the first one someone managed to keep the leading position from one question to another. So yeah, Leon, just drop your email here, please, in the chat to me, and I will write you an email tomorrow.
All right.
Or actually, I will write you. I will tell you where to write an email and just contact me. Yeah. Claim your prize. Yeah. So. Yeah, you're first class of RPA Summer School 2021. Okay, so Leon, for the purpose of right for the identification in the DM I just sent you, also paste your email address, please. Okay, so I think we can go to Q&A probably now, Han.
Oh, okay.
Or you would like to keep showing the demo?
No, I was wanting to walk through how did we create that Excel automation earlier, but I think it's rather complicated. So maybe we can upload the solution on the event website and you can check out the solution. Also, this exercise is available in the academy courses. So you can check that out later as well. All right. Now we can unmute everyone and see if anyone have any questions.
Okay, so there was a question from Carmen asking whether it was concerning Power BI and Studio X, whether they can do automations for Power BI in Studio X.
Right now, we don't have any native integration activities to work with Power BI. There are some for Tableau, but not for Power BI. The Tableau ones are kind of fresh out of the oven.
Is Tableau available in Studio X or Studio, Nicholas?
I think it's for Studio, but all activities from Studio should be able to add them for Studio X. They will not have this look and feel, and if they have some wizards, it may be difficult to use them. But we should be able to use every activity that it's enabled for Studio and Studio X, at least on most of the cases.
Yeah. And I believe as UiPath grow, we are going to have more application available on this menu. And this will empower citizen developer to, automate more tasks using Studio X.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can open the event link.
Let me unmute everyone now. So, okay, so I just allowed everyone to unmute. So you guys can unmute and ask your questions live now if you would like. We will take like 10, 15 minutes of questions, but I think 10 will probably be enough. The next session will be next Wednesday, but it will be on BST time zone. So for all of you who have cannot attend that, of course, because of the time zone, I'm going to paste now in chat the next module of the summer school, from which you can choose the session on EDT time. This is our next module, which is identical to this first module, only the time zones have switched this time. So all the sessions that you could not join because they were on BST, you will now have on EDT. This means that session 4 will be on EDT and session 4 will actually be on the 10th of September. If not, we will have session 4 on BST next week, and you will be able to go through it self-paced through the recording, presentation, and the exercise pack, which we'll have uploaded on the event link if you are SVP'd. And after the session next week, starting first day next week, you'll be able to see session 4 on the event link. The presentations are all uploaded on the event links. So if you have RSVP'd to the event, and if you go on the event links, so far, you will see that all presentations are uploaded for session 1, for session 2. Tomorrow we will have upload for session 3. The event links are the event pages from which you are SVP'd. This means that they are the ones in our platform. Let me see for this one.
Yeah, I think the link I just posted is for the future event. Let me grab the link from today's session.
Yeah, we need the link from today's session. I was just looking for that. I have it. I will paste it.
Okay.
Hey, Hannah, someone asked if you can open the convert to USD step again. Because if we have just a few minutes.
It's just this one?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Scott, I don't know if you have any questions for that. Maybe you can unmute yourself or write in the chat if you cannot unmute.
Yeah, it's hard to just go through this step and not, go through the very first one is to, okay, we first open the Excel file. And because we are performing the same task for every sheet in this Excel file, we use the activity called for each Excel sheet. And then we need to find the first and the last row from this Excel file in order to identify when do we need to pick up the value to convert and where do we need to calculate the total value after we convert everything. Okay. And I know I'm going fast now, but we don't have enough time left. And you will have the access to this solution file, okay? Now for each row in the Excel sheet that we have, we want to convert the value here to USD, right? So first we need to identify the total price column. And then we need to get the country code, which is this column right here. So using that country code, we're going to look for the value, the conversion rate correlated to that country code. Okay. And this, which is an activity just to check for the value that correlated to, for example, if it's the Japanese yen or USD, then how do you convert it into USD? So this block right here will help you convert it, this cell, into the value in USD. And at the end, after you calculate every row on that same spreadsheet, then you can calculate the total value by selecting the last row. And remember, this activity right here will return the first and last row index. So it's the row index, not the row number. So index start at 0. That's why you will see we +1 right here. Okay. And this action right here is just writing the summary value, the sum of the column from the first conversion row to the last one. And in this case, we know that the first empty row always start as J10. And then it just go through the last index. I don't remember if the academic course have the walkthrough for this exact exercise, but it have other similar exercise that also do calculation for each row and for each Excel sheet. So you can follow the instruction on the academic course for more information.
I think it's identical, the academy exercise. I'm going to paste the link now for the academy course in the chat.
Okay.
So if you guys go to academy, this is the link to the Excel automation class in academy. Among other exercise files, you will have, I think, this identical exercise there and the path and the solution too. So you will be able to do it at a slow pace in academy. And I think now, Han, when you're ready, I would like to take a few more questions.
Yeah, we have two. One is about how to make parts of the robot modular. For example, if we have 10 processes that use the same application, how do we reuse the login made for the first robot in the ones after that? And the other question is, when do we use new project versus new task?
I think in Studio X, you only have option to open a new task, right? The other one is a new template. So
yeah, so for that basically is in UiPath, as you have the templates down there that you have download file from website, complete Word from template, those ones, if you start from that, you're already going to have some part of the code already done for you. The idea is you start with that and you actually modify it to your needs. So you are going to use the template one when you want to create another template like the ones there. Basically, when you use create template, you are not creating a full automation. The basic idea is that you create something that then you can use to create automations from that.
Yeah, and I think we should say that blank task equals new project. So
yeah,
I think this is more like to the, so if you want to open a new project, Komoda, you open a new blank task.
yeah. And for the modular part, I don't know, Hannah, if you want to answer that, or I can send something.
this one, do we have the concept of reusable component library?
No, not directly, not right from Studio X.
So I guess if you have a several components that you keep reusing for different projects, maybe you can start a new template and then just create a template for login to, for example, log into Oracle or log into SAP. And then use the same template for the new templates to create library asset. No, so libraries is a different concept. Maybe I should not have brought it up, but so in Studio X, we don't have library, but basically library is just a package. For example, you have the Excel package. Inside that package, you have like these different activity that available inside the package. And the template is something different. So for example, this one is download file from website. If I just start this one.
Yeah, I'm also going to paste a link to a webinar that Nidhi, one of the other trainers that presented the previous session, did, I think not so many, a while back, on July 9 about reusability of code in Studio X. But just as a notion of why there's not so much reusability and those kind of things is because of the concept of the citizen developers. So basically we have the developers and the citizen developers. And the idea is that citizen developers automate their tasks, their teams, but for a more complete picture, for reusable components, for integrations with other platforms, those tasks usually fall into developers, actually. So we have tools in Studio, not Studio X, as Hannah was mentioning, to build these kind of libraries that then you could use in your projects. But for Studio X specifically, let me just give you the link to this event that Nidhi made.
I think you can, I'm not sure whether you can import them, but I think you can save them like separate tasks partially and reuse them from the tasks saved. So if you know you're going to reuse, you can just save a part of the RoboPath and then start a new project on it each time.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm showing on screen here is when you start a new project with a template. So for example, for every automation that you develop, you have to log into the company website. Then you can create a template with the login activities and put in your custom activities for that automation below. But you can create a template for that particular action. So let me go back here. So once you create a library in Studio, you can publish it as a package. Then it will available, either you store it in a local location or on Orchestrator. Then you will see the package available here or the library available here. So Studio X is meant to be a low-code platform. So if you have more experience in coding or programming, I would suggest to go with the Studio version instead of Studio X right here. And you would have more flexibility in creating something custom for your need. But for user who doesn't have programming background, I think Studio X activity are sufficient to automate your day-to-day tasks.
Actually, for those of you guys who are interested in Studio, which is actually Studio and Studio X are the foundation tools. Studio X is a no-code, low-code platform, which is meant, as Hannah said, for persons with no technology background, no experience in coding or programming. Anyone can do it. Studio is like the foundation to start becoming an RPA developer. So you need some technology background for that. And I'm going to share in the end for you sessions you can take now, like for what we have in upcoming events on Studio. Yeah, and you can switch profile from Studio to Studio X and Studio Pro from the same program. It will take you to a different feature and different interface, different feature set and different interface. So do we have any more questions now? Because if not, I will answer the ones regarding the event and the community questions.
Okay, I think you can share screen and go back to the presentation.
Let's see. Yeah, okay. Yes. So. Okay. Okay, so we're here now to what is next. I will share one by one these links with you. So the link for the next session is session 4. This is the link for the next session, and you can RSVP there if you haven't yet. It will be on a different time zone, but you can go self-paced and watch the presentation and watch the recording on it. And of course, you will have the link for Academy afterwards too. Then again, if you want to join this session live, you go to the program page, which is now on our community platform. And I will show you now. So if you go now to the RPA Summer School page in the community.uipath.com, you will find module 2 is already up. This module starts August 24. It is identical to the module you already went through. The difference is that the sessions are on switched time zones. So every session that you could not attend in this module is here on your time zone now. So you'll be able to attend the session 4. This is on September 10th on EDT, if you want to join it live. Then again, for what we have said today, like on Academy, if you want to follow up, and believe me, if you really want to dive deeper into this Word and Excel automations, you should do it. So you either go on the links that I provided you directly, and this is the link for the Word course. I will paste it again here. So this is for Word automation in Academy, and you will find it filled with resources. It's in a very slow pace, and you will find the exercises there. And this is the link for Excel automation in Academy. So this will take you directly in the courses. So save those links if you want to go in Academy directly in the courses. If not, if you go to Academy, academy.uipath.com, you search learning by role, and you go to RPA Citizen Developer Foundation. So this is the class on, this is the complete set of courses on Studio X, which is a no-code, low-code. Opposite to this, for those of you who are developers, we have RPA Developer Foundation. This is on Studio. But for Studio X, go on RPA Citizen Developer Foundation. And here, if you drop down, you will find all the courses taking you through the entire Studio X suite. And you have here, for example, what I just shared with you in previous links. You have Excel automation with Studio X. And you also have Word automation with Studio X. It's right here. You see, this is a 30-minute course, so it's easy. Excel is a bit more, it's 2 hours and 30 minutes because it shows you, like, it takes you through different difficulty levels. But both of these are very useful if you want to continue the exercises and dive deeper. Yes. Okay, so you can share feedback, of course, and stay close to us at community@uipath.com if you have any feedback on the sessions so far, what you attended. You will also have at the end of the program, so next week we have the final session of this module, and after that you will receive a feedback form and a quiz. This will be the communication after session 4. Everything that we did today, the recording, the presentation, and everything will be up on an event link, and you will receive a follow-up email with all the links. So don't worry, in that email you will have everything you need to have access to this content. And I know we had a question about being restricted access to presentation. So this is why I opened here session 2, which was last week, and we already uploaded the material. So you have the recording here, you see, and you have the presentation here. So by it doesn't work, I think you meant it doesn't extend, but you can really go through the presentation like this, or you can download it. So go to download. If you want to download the presentation, you can download it and use it like full screen. So it works. You see? So no one can tell it doesn't work. Okay, so now that we've explained that, we will make sure that you have this download presentation link in every event. Because the embedded presentation does not work full screen from slide share. Okay, so I hope we managed to explain everything, and I hope you can use the material, and you thought these sessions were useful. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you very much, Han. Thank you very much, Nicolas. It was great having you. I could not have answered those questions. So we're waiting for you next week for session 4 RSVP to get access to the content. Han?
Can I ask a question before
Yes.
we leave?
Yes.
Okay, so I basically